I am here alongside Steve Marshall, of course, former Spartan men's volleyball player, and now he recently helped Canada qualify for the Rio Games. How does that sound?
Pretty cool. It still hasn't really hit home yet. It's been crazy with travel and getting back, so it still doesn't really feel real yet.
What was that whole experience like? I mean, you guys waited until the very last moment to qualify. Pretty well, literally. What was that whole experience like in Japan?
It was a roller coaster. Going into it, you obviously have high expectations of winning games and beating teams and hopefully trying to upset someone. But it's not really how it started out. We had a rough start, went 2 fifth-set games right off the bat, and we're 0-2, and everyone was kind of rocked a little bit by that, and we might not do this, and then bounced back with a good win, and then we kind of a little up and down, so it was very emotional and very hard, and then we had to refocus at the end, knowing that we needed 2 wins to qualify and hopefully leave it in our hands. And we were able to do it. It was really gutsy by the team. Everyone came together. It's an unbelievable team performance. We used everyone on the roster. Guys came in, changing all the time, and guys did really well, and I think showed a lot of character from our group.
What was that last game against China? You got to starting on the national floor for Canada with so much on the line. Canada hasn't been to the Olympics in 24 years, and they said, Steve, you're going to be our starter. What was that like?
It was actually pretty funny because I didn't find out until we were going onto the court to warm up. So I was like, okay, Steve, you're going to start today. I was like, okay, sure, yeah. But, I mean, you approach it like any other game. Obviously, there's a lot on the line, and everyone's feeling nervous already, so it wasn't really that big of an adjustment for me because I've been playing a lot for the tournament. So it was kind of just, it helped me focus a little bit more, like, okay, you're going in, you know that you're playing, so just had to realize that he's not putting me out there to win the game. Like, I just have to go and do my job and do what he's putting me out there for. So it was nerve-wracking for sure, but it was awesome to be able to be in that situation and help the team.
Bit of a weird way to end, though. You guys win. What was the emotion like after beating China, knowing, okay, we've done what we need to do, but now we need to wait on Poland to finish it off for us?
Again, like, mixed emotions. Obviously, like you said, we did what we needed to do, and I think guys were happy with that because we kind of did everything we could do and it was in our hands for the most part. But we were still extremely nervous. Like, watching that game, it was very tense and very hard to watch for most of us. So it was harder, I think, to watch that game than to play that last game against China and that game against Japan, knowing that we needed to win. So just having it kind of depend on 2 other teams was tough.
What was that like, being in your hotel room, sitting there watching, and then eventually seeing you guys qualify, and then obviously the celebration and excitement that you guys are going to Rio?
Yeah, again, same thing, like watching the game, and we weren't even watching it together. Guys were in their own rooms and didn't really want to talk much, and just really nervous, tense moments. And then Poland went up 2-0, and we're feeling a lot better, and guys were feeling a lot more comfortable that, okay, we're going to qualify, we did it. And then Australia started coming back in the 3rd set, and then Poland was still up a couple points, and you still feel the shift of, like, oh no, Poland might blow this, like, Australia's coming back, maybe they won't win. And then it got to deuce set in the 3rd set, so it was going back and forth, and Australia had a couple set points, and Poland kind of held them off, and then finally, I think they got a block to win, and then me and Gord were in the room with Jay Blankenau, and we started freaking out. We're celebrating like we had just won the game and qualified.
Yeah.
And then you could slowly hear other guys celebrating throughout the hotel room, and then as soon as we kind of heard everyone celebrating, everyone kind of rushed in the hallway, and it was a really cool moment. Everyone celebrating and jumping together and just realizing what we had done. It was really cool.
Crazy. Obviously, you're a Spartan here. There's 3 Spartans that were on that team. What was it like? I mean, you look back, and it was a few years ago, you guys were all on the floor together winning a national championship, and now you guys are all helping Canada get to Rio. What's that like?
It's awesome. I mean, playing with guys on the national team that you played with in university for 5 years, it's really cool to have that connection and that background with guys, and I think that it also helps the team too, because you have those stronger connections and the team is closer and the group is closer, and I think that's a lot with most of the group too, because we're all around the same age. We all played university together, all played junior teams together, and B team and provincial teams. So all of us are really close, and I think that has a lot to do with our success right now, because our group is so close and we're all so connected. So I think it really helps with the dynamic of the team.
Just thinking about that a little bit, I was thinking about this before the interview. Those three guys, you, Rudy Verhoof, and Dan Jansen and Doran, you guys need the MVP of that team in 2012 was Ben Ball,
Yeah.
and then you had the libero of the year, Lucas Van Berkel.
Yeah.
All those guys. How crazy was that team? Now that you really look back, I mean, we knew at the time it was great, but now especially.
Yeah, looking back at it, it's crazy that was a university team, having 3 national team players who are helping the team qualify for the Olympics right now, and they weren't even the best players on the team. So it's and Mark Howson too, another
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
with the national team at the time. Yeah, it's crazy that was a group for a CIS team.
Yeah.
Really lucky and fortunate, I guess, but.
Yeah, stacked roster for
Yeah.
sure. Now going back this past year, you got to play pro in Germany, and you got to play with another Spartan, Nick Del Bianco.
Yeah.
What was that whole life like being in Germany, playing pro, and getting to play alongside a guy you know?
The team was awesome. We had a really good group. It was a very young group. I was one of the older guys on the team, which is, I'm not used to that.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. And then playing with Nick was awesome. Getting to be there for his first year of pro was sweet for me. Getting to see his progress through the year and helping him if he needed help with questions or how things were going. So it was nice to have him there, and then obviously it's nice to have a friend and another English speaker there. It makes life a lot more comfortable. And yeah, it was a really good season. We pushed one of the top teams in the league in the semifinals and had our chances to beat them, and I think we surprised a lot of teams throughout the year, and we had a really good season, so it was fun.
Now, looking forward to the rest of the summer. What does it kind of look like for you guys? Obviously, World League's coming up, so you're going to be part of that. What's kind of the process as you guys prepare ultimately for the Olympics?
Yeah, obviously we have World League, but I think now the main goal is to perform at the Olympics. So a lot of our weight programs and training will be kind of tapered around that. So we might not have the best World League just because guys are training really hard and working out hard to be ready for the Olympics. So performance might not be so great during World League, but I think he'll manage us really well. He's very good with that stuff, so I think he'll try to rest guys and cycle guys out throughout World League and try to get some younger guys more experience, and yeah, hopefully it all works out well.
You ever seen Glenn so happy after some of those wins?
He was awesome this tournament.
Yeah.
You could tell after our first win we're all kind of relieved that we had won, and we're like, finally we got that first win out of the way. And then he came into our huddle and had like a big yelled celebration, and then that kind of like refocused us, getting like fired up about it. And yeah, he was really sweet. And then even after the last game, he was extremely emotional, and that was hard for me to see just because he doesn't really show that often.
Mm-hmm.
And then kind of seeing him like that, and it kind of put into perspective like how big of a thing this was, especially for him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Finally, just kind of looking back on your time here at Trinity Western, and now you're off to the Olympics eventually. What did being on the men's volleyball team here, being under Coach Ben Josephson, what did that do to really get you to, the elite?
Well, Ben, I feel like I've said this so many times, but he runs such a good professional program here, which is really hard to find in CIS. He runs trainings and reps and videos and weights just like any professional club would, which is unbelievable. It really prepares you for going to that next step, which is why I think there's so many Spartan athletes that have made the jump to a national team level, just because it's such an easy transition for us. It's not really a huge change in training mentality or lifestyle. It's kind of just the progression that we take, and he does an unbelievable job of preparing players for that next step.
Awesome. We've heard that lots before, but always good to hear what's going on, and great to have you back in Langley here for a few days. All the best as you and the rest of the Spartans become the first Olympians that we've ever produced here in terms of Spartan alumni. So thanks a lot, and all the best. I'm Mark David Janzen.